Let me share an example of the media lacking the strategic understanding or the moral backbone to properly cover these events. The leftist media is worst. It's increasingly anti-Israel, which seems to be an extension of their anti-American disposition. Just have a look at this from the ABC.
I think it's unrealistic to expect that Israel wouldn't retaliate to this Iranian missile assault, just like it would have been unrealistic to expect that Iran wouldn't launch an attack on Israel after the Israeli killings of the Hamas and Hezbollah leaders.
Talk about false equivalence. They accept Israel's need to retaliate against nearly 200 missiles fired by Iran at Israeli cities and towns full of civilians, but they equate that with some apparent right for Iran to have fired those missiles because Israel launched precision-targeted attacks against the Islamist terrorist organisations of Hamas and Hezbollah in Lebanon. This is just bizarre. This is the ABC devoid of a moral compass or of rational values. No difference at the ABC between a liberal democracy defending itself from unprovoked attacks and the aggressive, murderous actions of an Islamist theocracy, a rogue state that funds terrorism, indiscriminately firing on another nation. What a disgrace the national broadcaster has become. Still, there's no leadership from the Prime Minister. Anthony Albanese shows no strategic clarity and no concept of the values at stake. Either that or he just ignores all that because he's more worried about Muslim votes in certain electorates. His foreign minister is just as weak.
The strikes by Iran are a dangerous escalation and we condemn them fully. It is rightly condemned by all who seek a de-escalation and a ceasefire. Under international law, Israel has a right to defend itself against these attacks. And as you know, Australia always urges adherence to international law.
It's just blather. She's just reading departmental talking points. Israel has a right to defend itself, she says, but every time Israel hits back at terror groups, Labor calls for a ceasefire. The opposition leader gets it.
I want to see a two-state solution at the right time. But what we're seeing now through the proxies of Iran is an attack on innocent people. Hamas couldn't care less. Hezbollah couldn't care less for people in Palestine, in the Palestinian territories, on the Gaza Strip, anywhere. That's why they put their headquarters under residential buildings and under hospitals. That's why they protect themselves with human shields. And that's why they're a terrorist organisation. They don't represent civilisation as we know it, and as we cherish, and as we fought for. Australians, I think, of generations past would be rolling in their graves seeing what the Prime Minister is presiding over at the moment.
Yeah, it is clear-cut. Middle East politics is as complex as you want to make it, but in the end you have to choose right from wrong. Israel deserves every support in taking out the terror groups attacking it. It has to defend its citizens, and the only route to peace is for the aggressors to stop their attacks, surrender their weapons, and hand back the 101 hostages still unaccounted for. You cannot negotiate a settlement with Hamas or Hezbollah. As long as those terror groups are intact, the conflict will never end.